Hello and welcome everyone to the second semi-final of the CBA Champions League. Tonight we're going to see actually CBA and Fuzzy Esports face off for the second spot in the finals. I'm Kachka and my color caster for tonight will be Byron.
Hello guys, how are we all doing? I'm very excited because this game is going to be so exciting. Both these teams play a late game team fighting style. That's where they both excel. They love those scrappy games, and if rest of the 5 that you saw on Monday is anything to go by, we're going to have one heck of a game on our hands.
I definitely hope for that. And what you said, both of these teams in the regular season, so many of the games just revolved around getting to that 5 versus 5, getting all the big team fights. But now the stakes are much higher. The last spot in the finals is on the line in this best of 5 series, as we are going to be jumping over into the Champ Select. CBA should be on the blue side for the first game.
Yeah, and this is going to be a real good one to watch. My big priority has to go over to the ADCs. They are the key members in front-to-back team fights, so I'm very interested to see which picks these guys are able to get their hands on. Vanguard, naturally, as soon as you see a player like that, you have to bring your eyes towards the pick, like a Vayne, for example. But he also plays things like that Ezreal, like that Sivir, that are a little bit more safer in lane, but do sacrifice that late-game potential a little bit. So I'm really interested to see how they draft around Vanguard, considering the power picks he has available.
Actually, CBA, I do like their first ban in Kiana. Hopper had a great game in the quarterfinal against EUS, I believe, and Fuzzy Esports, they decide to focus the Akali and Aatrox. So not only the AD carries, the solo lanes are also coming under the radar, and something that I said before we went live is one of the reasons why this match is going to be so explosive, because potentially every lane can be game winning for both these teams.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at Galeno, Optimista, OG Paulson, Vanguard, all star players on their team. On the other hand, Bumblebee, Z, and Kaiser Turtle, they'll be able to hold their own very well in those lanes, and I imagine could certainly come out the winners in some of them. So certainly not going to be a one-sided one, but Silas, the first pick, that flexibility coming in, Yumi will be the response.
Right, Yumi is already locked in very quick here from Fuzzy. I would expect the AD carry if you do want to secure that dual bot lane already. And yeah, the Silas, I like it from CBA. You have the flex, it can go into mid lane, can go into jungle, it can potentially even go up into this top lane. And now we're waiting for what will be the second pick of Fuzzy.
Well, I do like this Shen pick quite a lot. It allows, essentially, if you want to get Vanguard ahead, if you're on the side of CBA, now it's like, okay, we could try and force stuff bot lane, but if we do, then Shen's going to stand united down there. So already stunts one of CBA's possible game plans in terms of that kind of dive composition. You already have a side set up to do that. So I like it in the kind of compositional area. The issue is you're picking Shen blind, and often it can be quite an abusable pick if you're not expecting that Silas to go top lane, if you are expecting him to move around the map. However, Jarvan will be the pick into the jungle, very proactive in the early game. And CBA, they see the Shen and the Yumi, quite defensive picks, and they say, we don't care about your defense, we're still going to try and dive you. We're going to make these proactive plays across the map in the early game.
Definitely, and even though we said that these teams like to play around the late game, the snowball is always there. And with CBA locking in so much engage in their first 3 picks, it's bound to be an explosive game. However, now Fuzzy Esports can just pick the AD carry and then restrain the pool, so it will be a trade-off in terms of the draft.
Yeah, it will be. Zyra and Kai'Sa both off the board already, so no Zyra can't for us. But also bear in mind, picks like the Vayne, like the Sivir, still have not been touched in this draft. And Vanguard not able to get any priority picks for ADC right now. Bucky has also been picked up, which could be a flex, but I imagine that's another safe pick into the mid lane, can handle the siders very well. The Lucian will actually be the takeaway from Vanguard, not these late game scaling carries we expect him to be on.
And you see, Kale has pulled out the Corki in the regular season in bot lane. And CBA still respect the potential that could be made. I mean, that is something you expect. It's more the flex that Fuzzy could be utilizing. And Lucian and now the Vayne, of course, taken away from Vanguard. Varus is still open, and personally, that's one of my favorite picks of his. Whenever he goes for it, and CBA have got some sort of team fighting composition, Vanguard nearly always is able to shine once he hits a few items.
Yeah, and you have to think, with that Chains of Corruption alongside a Rakan engage or a Jarvan flying in there, the CC lock can be insanely strong if you catch someone out of position. But for Esports, they do have quite a safe scaling composition right now. Going to be hard to make plays versus them. I imagine that's only going to be enhanced with their AD carry pick. They're hovering the Ezreal right now, and everyone knows it's hard to engage on that Ezreal, especially with a Yuumi on this side. But don't talk about hovers. I get burnt for that one as Olaf is locked in.
You get a jungler for a Hopper that can go in and fight early game, which is curious considering how I feel like CBA, at least right now, will have the upper edge when it comes to the early game skirmishes. That will of course depend on the last few picks. But you are definitely expecting proactivity from both these junglers. There goes the Varus for Vanguard.
Yeah, you're a very big fan of this pick. I am really liking it alongside the Engage to create a fantastic pick composition. And with the Rise locked in, the side laning potential is huge. I mean, in the mid to late game, instead of having to fight a Shen, Yuumi, Corki, Olaf, etc. in that 5v5, you can split them across the map. And this isn't really what we're expecting from CBA. We know they're a big team fighting team, but from what they've drafted right now, they have a fantastic 1-3-1 pick composition set up for themselves. So it's questioning whether or not they can execute that versus what is a hell of a lot of global pressure on the other side of the rift. But Syndra will be in the mid lane, meaning that Corki is going down the ADC position alongside a Yuumi, and Corki Yuumi, that's a lot of poke, isn't it?
It definitely is, and you also have the safety with the Valkyrie, but you do have to watch out for that Chains of Corruptions once level 6 hits. You have double teleports on actually CBA, and they can rotate down into this bot lane. It will of course depend where exactly they want to place their focus. But we mentioned the junglers, and I feel like I want to focus on them more, because they can be the two players that will make sure this will be an explosive early game.
Oh, they certainly can be. Both these junglers are very proactive in the early game. What I'm expecting to see is Olaf try and punish Draven when he's in the jungle. Take those duels 1v1 because you know you can win them. But in terms of ganking, you can't find many better junglers than that Draven. The flag and drag can be huge, and getting that Varus Rakan or getting the Silas or even the Rise ahead is going to be so huge. So for me, Hopper needs to get some good wards around, land some great invades, stunt the amount of gold that Unknown Speed could get, but Unknown Speed's job this game, focus on his laners, try and get in there with some fantastic engages, get his lanes ahead, and lead his team to the victory.
Alright, this is what we are expecting. What I'm wondering though is whether we will see any sort of early game invades. I feel like with Olaf lately you see it quite often, since you can just walk into the jungle, but then looking at the side of CBA, their level 1 is not the worst, and the rest of Fuzzy Esports comp isn't also super great at the level 1, so we're gonna have to see whether that happens.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a level 1 invade that Hopper looks for. Might try and sneak in a ward somewhere, but I don't think he'll be rushing in there level 1. I'm expecting more level 3, level 4, trying to contest those scuttle crabs, push for some vision in the enemy jungle, and then use that to get your priority around your lanes. I think especially a matchup to key on is the mid jungle, because Z on this Syndra can punish Pulson incredibly hard in the early game. Syndra's burst power and general damage is huge, and alongside an Olaf, Pulson can get blipped out of the game in an instant. Difference is that if they're not able to get this mid jungle matchup rolling in the late game, and Olaf Syndra that aren't ahead is a little bit of a worry.
Definitely is, and Olaf himself not the best scaling pick. Yes, you will have some damage, or you could even maybe opt into the tanky option, though that's with your ultimate questionable. Whereas the rest of CBA, I feel like they've got the scaling on their side, at least with the Rise and Varus. It will definitely be close, so you are expecting some sort of elite to be formed as we are finally loading into the first game of this semi-final.
Oh man, I'm pumped for this series. We could be looking at 5 games. From the way the teams play, they have quite similar styles, so I'm imagining them to go for that similar playstyle. But seeing CBA bring such a curveball in the draft, and instead of go for that team fight, go for the more split push oriented style, it makes me question, can they pull this off versus Fuzzy Esports, who have shown, especially in that quarterfinals match, they are no slouch.
Now Paulson, he's just walking in through the mid lane. No invades, but definitely some trading back and forth. Looking forward to seeing maybe some Raptor wards being placed. You can see Imported Chicken already moving up and CBA pinging it through.
Yeah, they know that ward's there. They're gonna see if they can get rid of it, or at least try and bait something out. But that ward in the jungle, in the river, sorry, could be very, very huge for the Olaf to allow him to contest the early skull, keep Swede away from this top side, and try and force him down bot lane, where the Corki Yumi are gonna be quite a safe bot lane against that Jarvan.
Definitely are going to be now. Kali just throwing down a ward in the Tribush on his way to the lane. Not really expecting a whole lot to happen. What actually did happen is, if you look at Imported Chicken, he did use some mana and he lost some health, so that might be able to throw some false information on the side of Fuzzy Esports as to where Unknown Swede has started.
Yeah, maybe it will, but I imagine Hopper, I don't think he'll change his path particularly right now, depending on when that Jarvan is starting. He doesn't feel it's such of a threat, or at least he shouldn't, on that Olaf pick with the strong dueling potential, so... Imagine now we're going to be looking at the vertical jungling. Will be my expected path. We might see a change. But another ward actually placed very nicely, I believe, by Z onto the Raptor camp of Jarvan. So they know an Unswede's down there. No more smoke and mirrors as to where those junglers are going to be. And Hopper, he also got warded, but knowing where that jungler is going to be huge for him.
He did clear out that ward in the end though, so full information about the whereabouts of both Unknown Swede and Hopper in this game. Unknown Swede did go for a full bot side clear. Now he recalled and picked up the machete, will resume, whereas Hopper, he's just going straight through to his bot side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely really stopping Hopper right now. Unknown Swede turning to back early to try and throw off whereabouts he's going to be going, because if you've been spotting that ward, it's typical that they expect you to go path topside. So what I think he wanted to do is back there, almost to say, oh, maybe I was topside in the first place, to try and throw off the tracking of Fuzzy Esports onto himself.
We'll see if that will work. Currently no wards actually anywhere near the lane, so if you are any of those junglers and you manage to sneak up, that shouldn't be a very difficult gank if there are any lanes pushed in. And you can see Bumblebee already going forward in the top lane. Mid lane is pushing towards Paulson and he's slowly running out of mana, so maybe Unknown Swede can strike soon.
Oh, eyes on Unknown Swede, though. He is going to make this gank happen.
And he's looking to at least burn the flash from Z. That's the knockup. There goes the flash. Good early gank coming in from CBA.
Yeah, very, very good there. So both junglers hovering around that mid lane, but it is Unknown Swede who decides to pull the trigger. And getting that flash going to be huge. We already talked about how much Sindra wants to win this early game, and without a flash for her to her name, it's going to be that much harder to get a lead on OG Paulson.
Yeah, now Hopper will be trying his luck. Try and do the same, force the Rise to flash away Paulson. He's low on mana, but the movement speed will be enough. Another axe to the back. But Paulson gets out with his summoners intact.
Has to be careful staying. I mean, that's no mana really for a mage, and also quite low health. So if he does want to stay, he has to be careful. He might get dove here, but Unknown Swede hanging about.
Wave clear from the Rise, not just yet, not clearing the entire wave. Unknown Swede is there. Z doesn't have his flash. You need to remember that on the Syndra. You gotta be careful. Unknown Swede will not close the gap enough though. The first dragon coming up will be the mountain. I'm wondering if there will be any contest around that. Will the teams finally get some action going?
Oh yeah, I mean, they very much could. Unknown Swede.
Yeah, he's going in the bowling. That's a double knockup. Kali uses the Valkyrie. Necromancer just trying to eat some of the skill shots. Vango throwing up. Oh, that's the first blood. It is enough damage as Kali drops in the bot lane.
Oh my, that damage from Vanguard completely takes everyone by surprise. I'm imagining using the empowering of the W there to get there. And you see it on the replay. Great double knockup first of all by Unknown Swede. Forces Kali to use that Valkyrie to try and get out, but Vanguard not scared of anybody. And that's like a clean 200 and a bit health being sliced off by Vanguard, and that first kill going to be so important. Now Vanguard secured a 10 CS lead for himself and first blood, meaning he's going to be sitting on a wealthy gold lead.
I don't think Kali himself expected this much damage to come through. His flash was still up, but it was the 2 stacks of the passive, and the bonus damage just was enough for Vanguard. I wonder what items he will get. That's a Bilgewater Cutlass at 6 minutes. Just from that one play, it's already a good start for the side of actually CBA.
Yeah, it is a fantastic start. Already able to secure the Bilgewater Cutlass, which is going to be a huge power item for Varus. Always really want to be able to secure it on your first pick. And also uses a teleport to mean that he doesn't lose any of this CS that was crashing into his tower in the first place. So further cementing his lead in this lane is Vanguard. And that that Varus Rakan, got mixed up with the V's, now going to be even more potent, because bear in mind, they're on the brink of a level 6 power spike soon, and all of a sudden, you're dealing with a Varus with a lot of damage there.
A lot of damage, a lot of crowd control, and if Gyazo himself hits that level 6, the lockup is insane. However, Hopper, he's onto the dragon. He should be able to secure it unless Unknown Swede decides to pad. So definitely not too bad for the side of Fuzzy Esports. They are still getting objectives across the map, and overall, they aren't really falling behind as a team.
Yeah, they're not ready. Look at that gold differential on the top of your screen, and it's only 300. And despite the fact the first button the CS lead in the bot lane, you have to look at other areas of the map, and the biggest one is this jungle difference. Whilst Unknown Swede was able to secure that first blood for Vanguard, Hopper has been farming up an absolute storm as he's there. But the big lead, certainly in that bottom lane, that is a 600 gold lead for Vanguard, and I imagine it's only going to grow if they continue to try and push their advantage in this lane.
I'm wondering whether Unknown Swede will just decide to give all his focus to the bot side of the map now. Kali still has got his flash, but it's not impossible to lock down this Corki if you focus all your efforts on it. Imported Chicken doesn't have his TP, but Paulson could potentially join the fray. The one thing you have to watch out though, if you are CBA, is Bumblebee hit level 6. Stand United is available, and you always gotta keep it in your mind.
The Unknown Swede positioning around this bottom lane, looking for the gank, but as you said, that Stand United means that they have to make sure each play they make now, each little dive, has to be calculated with that in mind, and it can certainly catch teams off guard. I mean, I've seen it before, we all have, really. I mean, so we'll see if they want to pull the trigger. I imagine they won't. And Kali, very much aware of the danger he's in right now in this lane.
And it does kind of reflect in the CS scores. At least for now, Kali needs to play back, which allows Vanguard to build up this now CS advantage at just 9 minutes in. And we mentioned how big Vanguard's Varus tends to be, especially when you hit those 2 to 3 items. That just means he's going to hit it so much sooner.
There's an Unknown Swede, once again, being proactive, making... at least positioning to try and make plays happen, and that's the real important thing there. He's pressuring a lot of lanes here, and really, Hopper, whilst he has a good CS lead, his impact on the lanes has been kind of minimal. I mean, had that one prank on OG Folson, got him quite low, but other than that, he's really done nothing other than get the dragon, so compared to this to now, what can he do across the map? Can he get any of his lanes ahead?
Now he's looking for the top lane Imported Chicken. He has hijacked the Stand United. Just dashes over the wall with the Epscon. Hopper is going to clear out that Vision Ward. The Herald coming up soon will probably be the focus for both the teams.
Yeah, certainly will be. You got to keep in mind the amount of platings you can cash in with that objective is going to be huge, and any sort of gold advantage you can get in this game is going to be something you want. But Imported Chicken, you can't disrespect the Shen damage there, my friend.
The Kingslayer will sustain him back up. Now CBA, they are first on the rotation. They will have 3 members up in the top lane soon. That's the Cataclysm, the hijack, Stand United, and the countered one from Bumblebee. Hopper is still alive. He's still running away. He's gonna get taken down by Imported Chicken. Bumblebee cannot dash, cannot flash over the wall. It's a double for Imported Chicken.
And those kills going over are going to be so huge, because now not only do we have a bot lane snowballing matchup, we have a top lane snowballing matchup. Mid lane going fairly even, but in Paulson's favour means that Fuzzy Esports across this whole map now don't really have a single lane with an advantage because of this. And look at the gold lead. I mean, we were looking at it a couple of minutes ago, and it was only about 300. Thanks to that play, we're now looking at what is a 2.5k gold lead for CBA, and all of a sudden that possible snowball, that pick on position we were on about, it's looking like it could very easily start going off now. There's so many threats popping up across the board as we hit the 11-minute mark.
This is a huge swing for the side of CBA. A play will be initialized in the ball and Khaled jumping forward. He is out of mana. If you look at him though, there comes the quickness, grand entrance for the no-cap. Hopper is down in the ball lane, forces the flash away from Vanguard. He's still going under the tide. He wants to get the kill. One last undertow will do it. That's 2 over. To the side of Fuzzy Esports, Paulson has TP'd, but I don't think he can get a lot done. Good play by Fuzzy. They get 2 kills back.
Yeah, that momentum swing going to be huge for them there, and I really like how they bait in that Rakan engage by playing it like, oh, we're going in, or are we, or what? And as soon as that Rakan goes in, he's screwed because he doesn't have many escape options. I mean, he died with his flash up, which is really not what you want to be doing. And also, Vanguard, as soon as that Rakan went in, was left to dry, as I'm sure you'll see. And as that Varus, there's nothing really you can do about an Olaf sitting on top of you, so Vanguard just has to sit and die under his tower.
That's unfortunate for the side of CBA, but they won't be too disheartened. 12 minutes in, they still hold on to their gold advantage. The Herald now is up, and you see CBA taking position. Hopper is around, but I very much doubt he'll be contesting.
Yeah, I don't think Hopper can do much about this one. There are 3 members strong of CBA here, alongside Vanguard stepping up too. You cannot fight that, and Hopper recognizing, yeah, we don't have priority in the river, I'm just going to back before anything bad happens. But whilst they do lose priority in top lane, bot lane, Corki and Yuumi able to make their Privilege home here, start securing some vision and possibly the dragon, I believe. Unless I'm blind, it's a skull crab.
The Herald now summoned in top lane. CBA, they want to accelerate their lead. That should be the target if it ever gets to the charge, and there isn't anyone from Fuzzy Esports to stop them. CBA, they give all that gold to Vanguard. That was 770.
Typically, when a play like that happens, you want to make a play on the other side of the map, but Fuzzy Esports, that's right, the other side of the map, nothing's happening in it. It's just a 1v1 as Corki Yuumi sat way through mid lane, but they're losing so much top, they need to make a play.
Cal is now moving up, but what can he realistically do? Looking to get onto imported chicken. I should say the damage is going to be killing though. Imported chicken, not enough damage in the end. That's a shutdown picked up by Kale.
And that gold going over going to be so huge for Kyle the Turtle. We talked about him being a scaling carry, but has to watch out. Engage happening.
Here goes the quickness. Great Cataclysm forces the flash from the Corki. Still the charm is gonna connect, and the Stad United keeps Khaled from dying. Can now Fuzzy Esports win the fight? Paulson forced to flash. Great Sky of the Week. Z comes in. Bumblebee takes the kill onto Unknown Sweet. Gyazo now jumping forward. That's gonna be the blast cone over the wall. Both targets still slowed though. CBA, they lose 2 members. Fuzzy Esports, they just keep the kills coming.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, CBA outnumbered in that fight, wasn't respecting the bot lane pressure.
He's going ham. That is so much damage onto Vanguard. Killing spree for the AD carry of Fuzzy Esports.
I don't get a chance to have analysis because it's going to be one of those explosive games. I am not complaining. A Triforce has now been completed for that Corki. Kadatel having a great performance so far. That bot lane tower starting to take a bit of damage alongside that mid tower. They're trying to chip down these objectives. And the damage now from Fuzzy Esports, they win one fight, and all of a sudden, they're trying to be the ones in the driver's seat, and it's starting to work out.
They're still behind in gold by 1k, but the Triforce completed on Callum means they aren't doing badly in terms of all the damage. CBA now will respond with chip damage onto mid lane tower. The plates aren't there. Now they dive, imported chicken. He's looking for the kill. Grand entrance will knock up Kale, but look at the turret shots. They're just stacking up. Kale the turtle goes on a rampage. Just give him the double. That's a massive Corki for Fuzzy Esports.
Oh, it is, and it looked so bad in that lane. Vanguard getting that first blood with the 20 CS lead. You were sat there and you were thinking, oh, Callie, this might be a tough one for you, but as soon as this mid-game is activated, this Corki has been all over the map, and I think his damage to the best visibility now, 5, 1, and 2, has a Triforce, as we talked about earlier, huge item side, but also now the BF sword in his hands means that this Corki, you cannot disrespect his damage, and with the Valkyrie available, it's actually really hard to kill him as well. So not only does he have the damage to burst down your AD carry, he also has the peel tools alongside of Yuumi to just not die, and that kind of combo is such a threat to CBA.
And I feel like The reason, I'm trying to now theory craft here, the reason why CBA are losing so many kills is when you put the Corki behind, you would usually expect him to build some sort of defensive items. Kale just went for full damage. He finished Triforce before getting anything else. Now he's got also that BF sword before he even completed his tier 2 boots, which means this guy is gonna hit you like a truck.
Yeah, and I really like this from Canada Turtle. If you are behind, you need to get that damage. You need to catch up to the enemy team. Otherwise, you will just fall behind the damage and will start to become somewhat useless in those late game team fights. But he's shown here a lot of proactivity. And if you guys have been watching League of Legends for the past year and a half now, proactivity is certainly the name of the game.
The chain of corruption was missed by Vanguard. Unlucky there in the middle lane. CBA, they're just grouping for mid, but they're not really getting anything done. Only curious gameplay right now.
Yeah, and the question is, who wins out when you just sit here and stall mid? Because both team compositions have scaling opportunities. I mean, the Rise going to be huge in that late game alongside the Varus, but that Corki already so far ahead. We know that Corki's mainly a late game carry, so the more time he gets spent on the wave, the further he's going to be able to get ahead in this game. But Imported Chicken needs to be careful.
Gonna get engaged upon he channels the Stand United. Is it enough? No, the Shadow Dash from Bumblebee seals his fate. That's gonna be the 8th kill going to Fuzzy, and you just ask the question, who's better off waiting? Well, Fuzzy Esports, they're trying to make the plays. They're not waiting anywhere.
Yeah, and proactivity, like we talked about before, name of the game for both these teams, and it's Fuzzy Esports who are currently in the driver's seat. They might be behind in goal, but they are ahead in the tempo. They are the ones dictating what is happening on the map, which means that they're able to very nicely manage these waves, move the side of CBA where they want them to be, and this Rise pretty much stuck bot lane this whole time. They're free to just go and make plays, because they know that, sure, What's the Syndra isn't there too. Ultimately, we can win these fights if that Rise isn't there to lock down Kale, and you see it here.
Vanguard doesn't have any mana, forced to burn the flash as well. Hopper, he has to hold himself back, but I feel like if this was just a few minutes later, he would have been already underneath that tower. And it's looking tough right now, at least it is looking tough for CBA, but I feel like if you pay closer attention, there is the hope in the late game. Paulson is building heavy defenses, which means that once he actually hits damage, he will be nearly invincible. And you have that Varus in Vanguard, your hope for the late game. So CBA, they don't need to worry just yet, they just need to stop inting.
Yeah, and the difference is with CBA's composition compared to Fuzzy Esports is Fuzzy Esports, and we talked about in Champ Select, 5v5 team competition right now. They want to play front to back, they want to play that typical style, but I look at CBA and I look at something like a Rise, and this is going to be my new focus point, if you will, for CBA, is that this Rise right now is going to be so important in the side lane. He has that teleport available, has these defensive items like the Abyssal Mask built, and it means that if he's able to just sit in the side lane, absorb a bunch of pressure, keep someone permanently bot, and then use that teleport when it's needed, he'll give his team that advantage by just drawing pressure away from people like Vanguard and Imported Chicken that need a bit of room to be able to start getting into the game.
Package not picked up by Kale. He could be looking for a play. The Corki and Yuumi duo is so good when it comes to setting up those Yuumi ultimate. Z comes from the side. The Chains of Corruption is there missed. Here goes the package. Z blows up Vanguard. The taunt is well landing onto Rakan. The teleport from Paulson, but he TPs into the 4 members of Fuzzy. Forced to flash over the wall, and that's 2 kills. Over to Fuzzy Esports.
And now my question is, Fuzzy Esports, who now have the lead, what do you do with it? And I'm expecting it's going to be this mid tower going down. The Dragon also going to be a point of contention here. But whilst that's all happening, Imported Chicken able to secure the top lane tier 2 in that lane. And it means that now, Wave crashing into the inhibitor turret going to keep Shen boxed in that top lane.
That's at least a small win for CBA in terms of the macro moves. And I feel like I cursed Vanguard because I said that I really liked his Varus, and then he whiffed a lot of ultimates this game already. However, he's hit those 2 items. If you don't need to hit your ultimate if you still manage to kill everyone, which is unlikely right now. But give it 10 minutes. If Fuzzy Esports don't blow this game out with a Baron, CBA will have a real chance of, you know, just correcting the mistakes of their mid game.
Oh, I mean, you look at the gold lead, and they're only 400
Yeah.
gold behind. This is by no means a game that's over. It's actually an incredibly even game. The difference is that for the Esports, since they've had the tempo, they have not let up on their aggressive plays and their options in terms of pushing forward. And so, my question is, when do they let that foot off the gas? Because if they do, if they dare press that brake button, all of a sudden CBA will be right there to pick up the pace and push it towards themselves. And really, I can't help but think that there might be a little bit of a clock on Fuzzy Esports, at least in certain areas of the map. We talked about that mid lane matchup being one where Syndra wants to get ahead. Syndra's not ahead right now. She's even with the Rise, and the Rise is going to be much more happy scaling into that late game. So he's just going to have to hope that there are some missed positions by the likes of Vanguard.
Right, Fuzzy Esports going in. Hopper pops the Ragnarok as Gyazo, he's jumping in. Gonna die to Khaled. The Cataclysm will keep 2 members of Fuzzy underneath that turret. And it's gonna be a shutdown picked up by Imported Chicken. 1-for-1 so far. Imported Chicken hijacks that unleashed power. Unknown Sweet just jumping forward. Scatter with the weak stun is gonna get this silence. It's a 1-for-1 in mid, and you see already CBA fighting back. What you said, the game is much more even than it feels, and I feel like we can see it right now.
Certainly can. It ends up being a 1-for-1 under that tower, but both teams feels like trading blow for blow in this game one, not letting each team have an inch. And now, just look at the pressure that Fuzzy Esports were able to exert in this mid lane with that 4-man unit. It's so hard for CBA to try and push out and make these plays. I mean, bear in mind, the only way they got priority was for a botch to dive. And the teleport.
Vanguard, the teleport though from Imported Chicken. Unknown Sweet is the target. That's the first kill of the fight. Going over to the side of Fuzzy Esports. It's equalized now as Imported Chicken kills Z. Kale is still alive, but he's in the front lines. He has to flash away. Gyazo, he's jumping in. He's gonna die. Fuzzy Esports are turning the fight around in face of CBA. They take 4 kills. They take the tower and maybe even the Baron.
And what happens there is that Kai the Turtle, keep an eye on his positioning in this fight if we are able to secure a replay for ourselves, very nicely draws Import Chicken not only away from the fight, but then with the Stand United, no one else comes to get him. They look at Kai the Turtle, who is 7-1-7, has 2.5 items to his name. It's the huge damage carry. And the damage focus isn't there from CBA. They'd rather focus someone like Z, and that, to me, very big misplay in terms of the macro play by their team there. You need to be focusing Kai the Turtle. He is the big player in this fight, and you're going to see it again here. Sure, they do clump up very much here. There's a huge engage opportunity, and there's a slight overextension from Fuzzy Esports. But have a look at this engage from Gyazo. Once again, he jumps, misses his grand entrance, and then does absolutely nothing in this fight. I mean, sure, Z's able to get that kill, but ends up going down. But look at Kai the Turtle now on the bottom right of your screen. No one comes to stop him. Bumblebee comes in, and then he's able to just walk right back into this fight and secure himself some more kills. Sure, has to flash away, but then wins the fight 4-for-1. So, overall, great play by Kai the Turtle to just get himself in the right position at the right time in that fight. But CBA, you need to be focusing on that Corki. He is the big damage threat. He's most of the team's damage. Get rid of him, because if he goes down, you've won that fight.
And more than that, you need to enable Vanguard to fight. Something that I noticed in this replay. The Varus couldn't even come close. No mana, no health, therefore you cannot fight. This guy might be, well, technically only on 2 items. He's gonna be the majority of your long-term damage output alongside Paulson. So you're effectively losing half of your damage in a team fight just because you picked the wrong time as now. I will say Ragnarok, popped by Hopper, hoping to find something. Instead, Fuzzy Esports just push forward with their vision.
Yeah, and Fuzzy Esports, they're able to be so aggressive with this now. They have that Baron buff available as well, which we failed to even mention. They have to kill that Baron. And it means that now not only are they able to have that pressure in top lane, but now they're the ones with the side lane pressure, which is not something I'd be expecting me to say at the start of this game. It's Shen pushing through the top lane with this Baron minions, Syndra sat bot lane, and they're keeping that 3-man unit in the mid lane, and it's so hard to engage onto Kai the Turtle and Hopper when Necromancer is dipping in and out of each other with that Yuumi, and it just means they have constant pressure on all of these lanes, and CBA, they're going to need to force an engage somewhere, because you can't just let your objectives fall like this.
Second Mountain Dragon now sitting on the side of Fuzzy Esports. They managed to equalize the turret score with 3 for their team. They took all of the outer turrets now. Hopper going over the wall. He's looking for Paulson. There comes the slow the realm mode. It's interrupted by the final chapter. Paulson flashes out. He's gonna be safe for now. The prowling projectile. It gets him. It's not enough damage. Paulson, he's still alive. He's still running. Khaled, he doesn't have enough damage. Oh, the knockup onto Bumblebee, but Z finally gets close enough with the unleashed power. And now the power of Fuzzy Esports is unleashed upon CBA as 3 of their members die.
And that was so close for Paulson. He runs rings, really, around Fuzzy Esports for so much of that fight. But unfortunately, his team not in a position to punish that at all. And eventually, he goes down for nothing. And Imported Chicken, what you doing there, buddy?
He gets stunned up by Z, taken down by a Hopper. Vayne got the only person alive, Fuzzy Esports. They could be pushing for the game 1.
Yeah, this is looking like it could be it. 5 players on 1. This can't be a good idea. Gyazo also available, but they're going to have to force a Hail Mary play. It's the only option they have left available. But Fuzzy Esports say, nah, let's not end the game right now. We're having a bit of fun.
Yeah, the respawn timers were there already. 4 members of CBA now up. And you've got an 8, 1, and 10 Corki. I feel like we didn't talk about how huge Kale is in this game 1.
Oh yeah, he's been absolutely massive, and you saw it in the mid game, especially the way he was able to play the team fights and kind of bait out engages from the likes of Gyazu.ni and Unknown Swede. Just uses his Valkyrie very well to just get himself out of there, and with that means that as a turtle, he's gone pretty much untouched this whole game. His only death was actually that first blood where he got popped by that Varus. But in the end, I mean, past that, he hasn't really made a single mistake in terms of like obvious ones that you can think of. He's played such a clean game past that initial error, and it shows this Corki pick might have to come into contention in the pick ban and will possibly be took away because he's looking like a beast on this one.
Definitely is. Now the rapid fire cannon on top of it all. It is looking tough. If you are CBA, it is technically just the first game of a best of 5. You're not gonna be too upset just because you lose that, but you were looking good in the early game, and then suddenly Kale picks up a few kills, and it's not looking good so good. It's not looking so good from there, but Z, he is caught out of position. Great collapse by the side of CBA. They give over the kill to OG Paulson.
As they give over that kill, will they be gifting over a tower? It turns out not. Because Esports needs to be careful with trying to step up. They know that they don't have the numbers advantage right now. And also pressuring the bot lane here, drawing Rise away. But still, keep it right. Paulson, every time he's in the cycling, he has that teleport available. So, has that nice little global pressure alongside the Shen. But with Z gone, unfortunately for Z Esports, despite the fact they have such a lead, they have to concede pressure right now. Because they know they can still very easily get picked off.
Hopper, he's roaming around with Necromancer. He knows he can look for picks. Prowling projectile gonna slow Imported Chicken. Look at the auto attacks. He's forced to flash. He's forced to burn the hijack Ragnarok. He'll get to keep his alive, but you see how much damage Fuzzy Esports has. The Baron is up to in 25 seconds, and you really start to question what can CBA do this game.
Yeah, and they're very good at picking people off. That's what we saw against Z. He got absolutely popped. But the issue is that as soon as this Baron comes up, they're going to be forced to team fight against Fuzzy Esports. And of course, they are able to make picks. They're able to get those 1 or 2 stragglers killed. The issue is, as soon as it becomes a 5-person deal, I don't think CBA can realistically win that fight without some huge misplays happening themselves. We do see on the map, though, Baron buff is up, and there are no wards whatsoever for CBA on that Baron, despite that blue ward just going down. In that darkness, it's going to be hard for CBA to try and contest if it happens, and now the uncertainty will grow. Are they doing Baron? Are they not? They're trying to bait us. What do we do? Do we face check? And ultimately, they're going to be forced to go into that Baron pit 1 minute or another, and if they do it with their vision, it's very easy to just get destroyed there.
CBA do have vision in their own jungle, so at least they know what's going on there, and they can then go and see what's going around with this Baron. But Bumblebee, he's in the ball, and he's got both the teleport and the stand united, and he's pressuring that inhib tower, and he won't be stopped. That is the ball lane inhib tower gone, and if no one recalls, that will be the inhib followed.
And now they can just get either get a free Baron or look to stop some recalls. They're stopping the recalls.
Alright, they engage onto Hopper. However, he's got this down here. Look at how tanky that Olaf is. Vengod, he cannot do a damn thing in this fight. That's going to be Necromancer picking the kill up. But Caliph falls on the other side. It's a 1-for-1 AD carry straight at Paulson. He's alive. He's trying to dish out all the DPS as the Cataclysm is coming through. The hijack's down here as well. Hopper picks up Gazo. It is a 4 versus 3 in favor of the side of Fuzzy Esports right now. Paulson, he's going to get stunned up. That's a double for Hopper. He kills the mid laner of CBA. Fuzzy Esports, they are looking to collapse, finish off their fight, teleport into the base, and they will be looking to take the game 1.
And I tell you what, that was an impressive performance from the whole of Fuzzy Esports. Card of the Turtle goes down first and very quickly in that last fight. You start thinking, oh, that's the Corki, that's all the damage gone. Uh-oh, guys. But instead, Hopper, Z over the wall was huge in that fight as well, and it's a great team performance from Fuzzy Esports. They fell behind a little bit early, but that did not matter because as soon as that mid-game hit, they were so decisive in making those fights happen against what should have been the composition that picked them off. So overall, I mean, great play from Fuzzy Esports there to secure that game 1 win. And that's going to set the tone for the series now. Fuzzy Esports, they've made a statement. CBA, you may be the champions, but that does not mean anything to us. You're down a game, let's see what you can do.
Fuzzy Esports, they strike first in the series, but if yesterday is anything to go by, we're in for much more. I can only hope, because it was a close game. It was a close game in gold. And I feel like it just, I don't know, came down to Kala stepping up and the whole of Fuzzy Esports all together. And that's what gives them the game 1. But it is a best of 5. We will still have more to go and a lot more adaptation to see. But we'll throw it over to a break and we'll see you after to see who takes the game 2.